Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're listening to this. I'm Stu, joined as always by the one and only Aaron Pfeiffer at Pfeiffer TCR for another episode of Four Doors and GT4s. On today's show, I guess it's just going to be a recap of the Rolex 24 weekend and all the support series action that we had go on during it. Aaron, it's just been, I guess it's been what? Has it been 3 weeks now since the Rolex?
I believe so,
But
yeah.
it's well, we're not even halfway to the Sebring point yet, but we can go and relive some good memories from Daytona, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
you had some pretty darn some you had a pretty darn good weekend, so we'll talk about that when we discuss the Michelin Pilot Challenge. But there was some other racing action that, of course, took place at Daytona over the couple of weeks, both leading into and during the Rolex 24 weekend. You had the Mazda MX-5 Cup that was there, of course, always putting on a really fun show. It's always just much must-watch racing. You had HSR there at during the Rolex weekend as well,
Awesome
which gave
cars
us
from HSR, yeah.
yeah
Did
yeah
I
they were
miss
right next.
did Zach Brown wreck the Jaguar? Did I hear that?
I was looking at the race results from that, and I don't know what happened to that car. I don't know if he wrecked it. Um,
Yeah, I thought I'd heard he'd wrecked it in like that night practice
oh,
Thursday night or whatever.
well, he did 2 laps during the race, or
Oh,
two or
okay.
three laps during
He
the
got
race.
it back out, yeah.
Yeah, so if he did wreck it, it wasn't too bad. But I don't know, maybe somebody in the chat will know. As always, we're live across YouTube, both vertically and horizontally and vertically. Got my axes mixed up there. So we're live across YouTube and X. We're also live on, or you could be listening to this after the fact. I guess let's just kick into it with the Rolex 24 or the support series racing that went on. Where do we want to start here? Do you want to start with MX5 Cups, or should we go? Maybe we start with
Okay,
VP.
we can start off with VP. That's what started first,
Yeah,
right? So the
yeah,
VP
technically, yeah.
Challenge was the headliner of the Roar weekend, the only racing you'll see that weekend, and the first race of 2026 for IMSA. Stu, do you miss when they used to have the race for WeatherTech on VP week on Roar weekend where you'd race for
Oh,
your
that
starting spot?
qualifying race?
Yeah. Do you miss that or
No,
no? Okay.
no, I don't miss the qualifying race. Who nobody was trying in it anyway. So it
Yeah.
was that a 2 hour and 40-minute race as well? Is that what they did?
It wasn't
I feel like
short. Like I remember that.
yeah,
Yeah, it wasn't short, that's for sure, but it was short-lived,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, yes, it was. No,
Yeah.
yeah, don't miss that at all. But it was still nice to have some racing action going on. The VP Challenge was
Yeah. VP was good, and you had two very different races. You had Saturday. Oh, yeah, Stu, you weren't there that weekend. Okay, so Saturday
nope.
was gorgeous weather, probably the best weather of maybe the whole time I was down there. And sunny, and you have this big fan walk before the race. So you have all the Boy Scouts are there, and the track is very busy for it being just a test weekend. And you quite frankly had a pretty boring race in race one as well. If my memory serves me correctly, you had Weston Workman walk away. Hold on, I'm pulling up the results just to
Oh,
make
he
sure I'm
he
not wrong
did.
here.
He had a 10-second gap when they crossed the line.
Right, yeah. So Weston Workman went flag to flag and kind of walked away with it in GS, and then you had a tighter finish there in VP Challenge where you had the top three separated by only 4 seconds, and then boy, just talk about the disparity in driver level in that series right now. So you have the top three separated by 4 seconds, then you had 41 seconds back to P4, a minute back to P5, and everyone else laps down. So it looks like that championship's gonna shape up like it normally does, right? Where only 2 or 3 cars are fighting for the championship probably. But still, wasn't a bad race at all, but I can't say it was the most entertaining or action-packed race with a lot of door banging or anything like that. Let me check just to make sure I'm not wrong. Yeah, it was green flag the entire time, so not a lot happened. But then you go to Sunday, and things definitely switched up there Sunday, where actually the only time it rained the entire the entire time of the 2 weeks there for IMSA was in that hour of the 30 minutes before their race and the hour of their race, and it was a wet tire start, and it was quite an eventful race. I don't know if you got a chance to watch that one or not when you were at home, but, it started off with drama before we even got going with, oh, hey, Denny, with, with Weston Workman, the pole sitter, falling, out of what would you say? Some kind of mechanical error that like happened 2 or 3 times on the pace lap, and yet somehow he still took the green flag. So,
Yeah,
so
I
yeah,
don't remember distinctly, but I do remember Weston had to overcome some adversity in this race for sure.
so he drove through the field, and your prediction of Deep Benedetto being a very racy in the series was very correct. Those two had a great battle the entire race. But we probably have to talk about the last 10 minutes of the LMP3 battle and a certain a certain move made by a certain young man and a couple decisions that followed that literally had me scrambling to find a radios because I was trying to listen to race control because I wanted to hear them losing their minds. And unfortunately, we realized that our stream in the truck was like 2 minutes behind, and we had already missed them losing their mind. But yeah, it
We
was.
got a little
Oh,
bit
his
of,
air jack was partially deployed.
yeah.
Okay, there you go.
There you go.
That's interesting. I mean, it could definitely happen for sure. I mean, that car probably hadn't been on air jacks for a couple hours at that point, but yeah, I mean, certainly it could just be dragging on the ground there. Um, Andrew is bearing the lead with
Oh,
our M2 action. Don't worry, we'll get to it.
we'll get to that.
Yeah, but yeah, so 10 minutes to go in LMP3, the leader is spun by a lap car, and you see Brady Golan, who I don't know anything about really, take the lead, and I think he had been in the podium the race before. And on the very next lap, in wet conditions, he puts a tire off on the paint in the kink and stuffs it in the wall pretty hard, and then obviously frustrating, right? Wreck out of the lead of the race, and he proceeded to not let that stop him, right? So he gets out of the wall after a pretty big impact. If you go back and look at it, it's a pretty good shot that he takes, and he decides he's going to rip around the track with his splitter under one of his wheels, and then you think, okay, well, he's going to pull into pit lane. Nope, he goes out and continues to go for the next lap and gets into turn 2 and smashes it in the wall a second time because, quite frankly, his front wheels weren't touching the ground because his splitter was jammed under the car. And that would be the end of his day. And I'm looking at the flag analysis, and the flag analysis is great this year. This bravo to
Yeah, they changed it.
whoever added this, where it has all the race control messages on here. It's great. We'll talk about how long it is with all the race control messages from Pilot Challenge in a minute. But yeah, there's several messages about car 30 on here, including a mechanical black flag that was ignored. And yeah, that's a tough one. That was just a tough thing to watch. It's probably just one error turning into several errors, but credit to IMSA, they did get the race restarted, and they did have a one lap dash to the finish. Did you notice on that one lap dash to the finish what they skipped, Stu? It's kind of becoming an IMSA special here.
Oh, did they not throw the white flag?
No class split. They didn't do the class split,
Oh,
and so you didn't really have the
oh
LMP3.
boy.
You didn't have the LMP3 battle because you had the GT4 cars in between it, but you did have the battle of Workman and Deep Benedetto on the last lap. So, yeah, I mean, I'm familiar with them skipping the class split. That is a thing that happens sometimes from time to time. Not that I'm bitter about it, but yeah. So, but
Clearly
yeah,
not.
but probably the best battle of the weekend though was the battle in
And he guessed right
GT3.
though.
Oh wait, there was no battle in GT3 because there's no
Oh
GT3.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
no, we
yes,
were missing the
right.
battle. That's for sure.
Yes, yes. But yeah, I thought race two was definitely very entertaining. I wouldn't want to be standing out in it because it was quite frankly gross and cold and wet. But yeah, a pretty entertaining race two. And like I said, it's cool to see those guys get to have it's the only time they get to do a grid walk and have a national anthem and all that stuff the whole year. So I think it's a cool event for them and a nice spot for them to be the star of the show at the Roar.
Yeah, it is cool for them to have their. I'm sure that they would love to be around the Rolex weekend and experiencing the the full 24 weekend kind of crowds that are there. But for them to be, like you said, a focus point of the weekend for the fans that do show up. The fans that show up are going to be diehard fans if they're showing up to the Roar,
Or Boy
and then
Scouts.
kind of and the Boy Scouts, yep,
Yeah.
for them to be able to show up and kind of do their thing is great, and give them an opportunity still to race around Daytona with all the hustle with the buzz that's in the air, I guess, leading up to that weekend. Now again, I honestly don't remember a whole lot about these races. There's been kind of a lot that's gone on since then. They were talking about races that were a month ago at this point.
Well,
So
you're busy being wined and dined in the media center. You can't be paying attention to the race.
I'm just gonna ignore that comment. And we're going to talk about the positive that did come out of this race, which was you kind of alluded to it there. Some of the battles that we saw, not only in the GSX class, you mentioned it with like Weston Workman and Justin De Benedetto. It does look like there are a few GSX cars that are going to be, pretty close together there for the season. There was a Bronze Cup driver, Sean Quinlan, I believe, that made, had a couple of good runs, a fourth and a third place, top bronze for both of those. Was, maybe wasn't quite within striking distance of some of, if we want to call them I don't know if we want to call them the pro drivers, but like those non-bronze drivers, I guess the silver drivers. He was within, he held a respectable race. And I think there's going to be some good battles here. You also have like Courtney Crone as well. That's racing in this. She competed in the LMP3 class here. I believe it was a couple years ago. So, there's definitely some positive takeaways to come away from this. It does maybe look like Weston Workman could be building up to kind of a bit of a runaway season here, kind of as we've seen the last couple of years in GSX, but LMP3, if we see 10 LMP3s that come out for every race weekend, that's positive. And it looked like there were some pretty close battles there in among the races on the weekend. So, anything that the VP Sports Car Challenge can give us is positive, because we've seen a lot of takeaways so far this season from the class, and we're not that far into 2026.
Yeah. It's nice to see the new car there, right? So you have the new
Yep.
Ligier was there. So they seem pretty balanced between the Duquesne and the new Ligier and the old. So that was nice to see. I got to admit that I did not notice that Courtney Crone was in that race. She once beat Dennis DuPont in an LMP3 car, just since he's in the chat. But yeah, so yeah, that's VP. You'll see I guess we'll see tomorrow what this season's going to look like for them as they are going to COTA with NASCAR next weekend. on the very odd NASCAR new COTA layout. So yeah, we'll see the entry list tomorrow afternoon and see if we have a nice car count or not. 22 is our benchmark right now, so we'll see how it stacks up.
Did they did Coda last year? Yeah, they did Coda last year as well, because I remember was the LMP3s kept running out of fuel at the end of that race, right? Was
Yeah,
that
so
race? Yeah.
both the Gabhart cars put the wrong amount of fuel in and ran out when they were like a minute and something ahead, and then the Supras went like 1, 2, 3 both weekends, and they also like qualified like nearly in the dark on Friday night for
Oh,
some reason too. So yeah, that's yeah, it'll be their second year there, and I believe they actually go there twice. I want to say they come back there and run the full track for one of their enduros.
oh, is that like is that the USAC weekend or something that they're
Yes,
piggybacking on? It must be.
yes. So actually,
Oh,
yeah. So
interesting.
they'll go there at the end of February. Then they'll be there back there the first week of May for so round 2 and round 4 are both at Coda for them, and two different track layouts and two different lengths of races as well.
You know what? That's good. I mean, I guess we've talked about this a fair amount kind of in the past, is that, it's good to see some of these support series going and supporting, whether it be NASCAR or whether it be, IndyCar, that IMSA sent, or IMSA's had a series go and race on their weekends.
Next
I guess it's
weekend,
always good to
yeah.
get that extra exposure.
Yeah, I think next weekend's I mean, we could lead into MX5 with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, next weekend's a really cool weekend, really, because you have IMSA there with the MX5 Cup at St. Pete. You have IndyCar kicking off their season there, of course. And you have NASCAR there with the trucks with some pretty cool drivers getting
True.
in there. Dario Franchitti, James Hinchcliffe. So, yeah, I think that's a pretty darn entertaining weekend of racing for a street course. And for an IndyCar weekend.
Yeah, what a variety of racing that you're gonna get if you're fortunate enough to be in the St.
And
Pete area. You get, IndyCar, trucks,
and
MX5 Cup. I'm sure. Do they have any IndyCar regular support
they
series?
probably
Yeah, I
have
don't know.
they probably have Indy next
Indy
there.
next. Yeah.
Who is and there's a certain celebrity getting in an MX5 car for that race as well, correct? One
Yes, and
one
I remember
Sebastian
seeing.
Bourdais, I believe.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. I'm like,
Yeah.
why do I remember who it was, but can't put my finger on it?
Yes.
Sebastian Bourdais, yes, in the MX5 Cup.
So you never know what you're going to see in the MX5 Cup. So I became the VP challenge expert, which is scary, but you're the MX5 Cup expert. So why don't you tell us what happened at Daytona with the MX5, the must see TV, which actually I missed, so shame on me.
I so I it wasn't as there wasn't a highlight moment. You know what? This was a pretty standard like MX5 Cup Daytona weekend. I feel like, there were some incidents for sure. You can't avoid that with the MX5 Cup cars, but thankfully, unlike last year, there was no massive incident that took out a third of the fields before they even reached turn one. It
Right.
was a little bit more tame this year, but we still did have full course yellows. But at the end of it, both races still delivered that classic, MX5 Cup at Daytona sprint to the finish. Both were great finishes. We had some, I can't remember if it was race one or race two, coming out of the bus stop. I believe it had to be race two. Coming out of the bus stop, we did have some, beating, and there was some contenders that got bumped off, and a little bit of chaos, but at the
Right.
end of the day, it was two good races. We had two really big fields. I do have the
So
results
race
not
one, the
super
top
handy, but
three were separated by less than
half a
less
tenth,
than
or I was half a
half a
tenth.
tenth. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that was the one with the great finish. And also, these are three names I don't know on this podium, which is kind of rare in MX5, right? You're used to seeing a Jared Thomas or a Weston Workman or whoever it is, almost always in one of these podiums. And this is really three new names to me. So at Hendricks Motorsports, I believe that was their first ever MX5 win as well. So yeah, definitely some different names here, which is nice to see some new blood in MX5 Cup. But if you go to race two, then it's much more what you're used to seeing, right? You got Jeremy
Yeah.
Fletcher, Tyler Gonzalez, and those three also covered by 1.5 tenths. So two. You said it's a boring MX5 weekend to
I didn't
compared to
say boring. It was
normal
standard.
Daytonas, and they're still separated. Yeah. The racing's just always really good there. The draft is just so powerful in those cars. It's super entertaining.
I'm pretty sure race one we had that standard like fully fanned out like
Yeah,
basically
yeah.
four wide MX5 Cup finish. I'm pretty sure that was I do remember that. So yeah, it was still a very good weekend of racing for the MX5 Cup. Just it's one of those. It's one of the cars and just the way the series is, the drivers that it attracts. Like it always puts on a show at a track like Daytona where the bump drafting is so strong in those, and while they say you can't lock on and fully like lock onto their rear bumper and just push them forever, it has to be a true little bump. They still put on a fantastic show. The draft is so strong, and it's just like a change of pace from what we normally see throughout a lot of the other series of the weekend.
It's
Now,
very
one of the things that
interesting.
was
Very interesting
go ahead.
racecraft too, where they're having to lift, while in the draft to make runs and stuff. If you
True.
ever get to see anybody's onboards, it's interesting what they have to do there. How about I'll give you this stat. You got Noah Harmon winning race one, and you have Jeremy Fletcher winning race two. Both of those, of course, get you 350 points. They actually got the same amount of points in race two, both of them as well. Do you know how many points they both got in race two?
Sorry,
10.
Jeremy.
10. They only got
Right,
10 points
really?
in race two. So
Well, that's because
they both managed to finish 29th in one of the races and win the other one. So yeah, that's the kind of crazy stuff you can have in MX5 Cup.
well, it's better than the 0 points that a lot of the drivers got because the freaking car count for these races was 45. 45 MX5 Cup cars, which is I don't know if that's I don't know if that's a record, but like 45 cars has to be close to the highest
Yeah,
car count that we've seen. Like that's
that's almost the whole pilot challenge field. Yeah, that's and no one got 0 points. IMSA has rewritten the rule
oh,
book or something. Everyone got pity points, so you did get 10 points. So
participation points.
there is somebody who's in 45th position, actually 43rd through 45th. All are tied with 20 points because they got 10 points three times. Yes.
Wow, that's impressive. We're giving out
Yeah.
participation medals now. That's
Including someone named Woody Hyman. Is that really his name? Okay. Anyway, we'll
Woody
move on.
Hyman's been racing in the MX5 Cup for years now.
He has? Okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, he's in 45th position in the point stand. He's tied for 43rd, actually. So
That's actually
yeah.
surprising. Series bet. I wonder if maybe some car troubles may have
Yeah.
hampered that.
So yeah, for sure. In for a great season there. Again, we're a day early, but we'll see tomorrow what their car count looks like. I remember last year there was a lot of carnage in race one at St. Pete, and a lot of people kind of desperately trying to fix their cars to get back out there for race two. I mean, you can't go from like one extreme to the other in these little cars, from Daytona road course to a temporary street course in St. Petersburg, which goes from a wide airstrip to a very narrow back end of the track.
Yeah.
So gonna be it's interesting. The only thing I don't like about when IMSA goes to St. Pete is they're given such goofy times to race. Like you'll catch
Sure.
race one at like 9 a.m. on Saturday morning, and then race two will be at
Like after
5.
the IndyCar
Like
race.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like everyone's
Yeah.
and they're tearing down the banners and they're running the race, and the IndyCar trucks are packing up and leaving. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's probably going to be even worse now with the truck series there, because they're going to get, they're going to get their practice and everything, and just adding another series like that, and another
Yeah.
broadcast window that they want to be in.
Well, yeah. So, yes, I wasn't. Actually, both there. Okay, yeah. Sorry, it gets even
Oh no.
worse. The race is at 7:30 in the morning on Saturday.
That's race
7:30,
one.
7:30 a.m. green flag. Can you imagine you're like asleep in a condo in downtown St. Pete and you just hear all these damn MX-5 cars come by?
There's going to be some
Yes.
noise complaints. Yeah.
And then their second race is at 4 p.m. On Sunday, and IndyCar green flag is at 12:20.
Yeah.
So, and then the USF cars run. So yeah, they're literally the very last thing on there. So,
That's
um,
wild. I,
yeah,
I remember I remember
interesting.
seeing like some posts from the last time around, and being like people walking over the bridges, like the track bridges, with the MX-5s like screaming underneath them. So yeah, classic St. Pete timing. And you
Yeah.
you mentioned kind of the carnage that we can see, during a race like this. There's been cars that have flipped going into turn one. Like there's been so much stuff that's happened
Yeah.
here over the.
Turn three, that fast right-hander where you sometimes see the Indy cars hit the wall and crash. You see crashes
And bounce
there.
back out on track, where that's where
Yeah,
that.
then you see
Yeah,
crashes into turn four. Yeah, it's yeah, if you're up at 7:30 on a Saturday morning, get on to, I believe you can see all those on YouTube even in the
you
US.
can. Yeah,
Yeah,
they are
so yeah, you
broadcast
just,
on YouTube in the international for anybody around the world.
yep. So get on YouTube and check that out if your kids woke you up early on Saturday morning.
That should be.
But
You said, when is that? That's not this weekend. That's
that's
next
not this
weekend.
weekend, it's next weekend, yeah.
Okay.
So,
So we
yeah,
should be seeing
this,
the entry lists out for those pretty soon.
yeah, tomorrow you'll see them. Yeah. So, yeah, this is kind of the last weekend without North American racing for the next few weeks, really, because you have IndyCar goes like back to back to back to start the season,
Yeah.
and then Sebring, and I think IndyCar again. So I think you can catch racing all 5 weekends in March.
There you go. It's spring is on its way, which
Yeah.
for us, we're supposed to get like 2 inches of ice tomorrow. So it's still, any sign of spring that's coming is a welcome one at this point.
Oh, it's supposed to be 72 Fahrenheit here tomorrow, but so yeah. Well, you choose
Don't
to
want to
live
hear
there,
that.
you know.
I choose to
Uh,
live here. Yes, yes.
well, should we go to the race, the race everyone cares about? You know, obviously. Let's switch it over to the pilot challenge, shall we?
Let's jump into it. How about you take us through what your weekend was like, because it's an interesting weekend for you guys. This is a weekend that you are fortunate enough to have, like a full weekend of testing
Yep.
leading into this. So how does that impact what you guys are working on in practice sessions? I know that the weather was different enough from
Yeah,
was
but it
it?
was still, as long as it's
It's a
dry,
little
you can
cooler.
still,
Yeah.
yeah, you can still learn a lot. Yeah, yeah. So for us, I mean, we don't run a very rigorous testing program at all, quite frankly. So Daytona, although not probably the track you'd want to test a million things at because it's unique in many ways, it is where we end up testing a lot of stuff. So that's what you kind of spend the first day of the roar, making sure, knocking the cobwebs off for everybody, right? For the drivers, for the car, for the crew, all those things, communication, all that stuff. And also try to make sure that your car is in the window where you want it for race week. And then for us, Saturday and Sunday, we played with some different things that we normally don't get to play with, don't have the time to on long weekends, some new bits and pieces and see if some works, some don't. Save some of it as notes for later in the season and places where you might think it'll work and might go try it. And then also try to get some long runs in, because your drivers also need to get back in the swing of things and back into the fact that they're going to be driving 2-3 hours in the race.
Mhm.
Surprisingly, in the roar, like normally there's crashes and somebody tubs a car in the roar. It's such a mess. And there wasn't a single crash for 5 pilot sessions with 49 cars or whatever it was during the entire roar weekend. Very few red flags in the sessions. I think they were mostly for, um, just a couple mechanical issues. So yeah, the roar weekend for us was good. Then you come back and reset, and then you're into your more standard race week. It is a little different because this for some reason we get even another extra session after this. We get a morning warm up, so it's a lot.
Like it's like a
I'd take
30-minute session, right?
yeah, I would take that 30-minute session any other 9 race weekends of the year. The one time you don't need it, it's like we've already run, and I think only like half the cars even ran the morning warm up. To be honest with you, but yeah, you know, Preston had his best non-red flag session qualifying ever. He would qualify P5 after it's all said and done. You would actually have the Victor Gonzalez Cupra put it on pole, but they would be thrown out in impound later for I believe it was a part that they had repaired from their
Yeah.
wreck at Road America last year, and I guess it wasn't caught in the other 2 times they were in impound. It would have been nice to have caught that at impound at Road Atlanta. I believe I would have won the championship, but whatever. They caught it. They caught it at impound in qualifying in Daytona instead. So that happened. And yeah, so we're sitting there P5. For us, we brought a lot of our crew back, but we did have some new guys. So the only thing we used that morning warm up for was we were just on some old tires and running through a couple stops for the guys to get them ready and knock the cobwebs off, make sure we were ready to go for the race. So yeah, the weekend for us was pretty smooth. We didn't feel like we had amazing straight line pace. Certainly, you can look at the speed traps and see that some of the other manufacturers were definitely beating us in straight line speed. But uh, we just knew we've done this before, right? We've done these enduros before.
Yeah.
We knew we just had to stick around and go error free and see where it fell. And so, we were feeling, I don't know, pretty decently confident about the race when we got into race day. I told the crew the morning of, I was like, you know, this is probably the only time I tell you I'll be disappointed if we do anything other than to win the race because we won this race last year and I want to go win it again. And so that's kind of where we set the bar, and that kind of set the tone for our day.
That's it's a heck of a way to set the bar, win or disappointment, you know?
Yeah, but yeah, when you get into the race itself, I mean, it was a wild race. So going into that race, the last 5 years, the average amount of yellow was 63 minutes of yellow, if you believe it or not, in that
Okay,
race.
so
And
quarter of the race.
this one would have nearly 86 minutes of yellow, and kind of not how the order you would have expected it, right? So you have the opening stint of the race with all your AMs in there, right? And you have 51 cars in there, and they would actually all be great. They would all do really well. We would get the first yellow like 37 minutes into the race, but that would be for some debris on the front straight. And so then you're kind of off to the strategy battle there. For us, we actually got Preston out of the car at that point and put Dennis in and said, "See you in 3 hours." Um, and was a little nerve wracking because I mean he trains for it, but still, it's a huge ask out of him. But it would turn out that that first yellow would be almost 28 minutes because of the wreck that happened almost when we were going back to green during the class split, where you had the
Oh yes.
the goo car on goo car violence via the Rafa car. So yeah, if you don't know, or if you don't, not that you would need to know this, but in the rule book and even on the radio, they say during the class split, no tire scrubbing, and they'll remind you every time, no tire scrubbing. And unfortunately, Celso Neto was scrubbing his tires on the front straight and was scrubbing them pretty aggressively to the point where he ran into the Rafa car and launched that car into his team car, the Goo
Yep.
car, and knocked them both out of the race. And quite frankly, those were two cars that you definitely thought were contenders after looking at the weeks they had. That 77 car ended up being the pole sitter, and they were extremely quick. And then the Goo car had John Morley with them for that weekend waiting to drive, and he's a two-time winner at Daytona. So yeah, that would kind of just set off a series of crazy wrecks and things like that, especially in TCR. TCR actually ended up kind of being a bloodbath.
I was surprised at that actually, because I feel like usually when we end up talking about the pilot challenge, it's a discussion about, oh, what happened in GS that, like what incident happened or incidents happened in GS that ended up really really affecting this race. But yeah, like this year it was kind of the opposite. We saw most of the the funny business, or the incidents that were taking place kind of in TCR. And you mentioned that you had the couple of those Cupras that were out really early. You actually you
Right,
lost
right after
another
that, when
Cooper.
yeah,
Go ahead.
right after that, you go green, and the 99 car runs into the 93 car, breaking a
Yep.
suspension piece on them. So that now you're down three of your TCR contenders. The 99
Yep.
car would end up serving four drive-through penalties throughout the day.
Oh,
So
that's
not
wild.
not a race to remember for them. I would be, I love, I'll probably talk about this all year. I love this flag analysis. So after the first round of pit stops, they they called penalties, right? And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 cars called for penalties on pit lane procedures after the first pit stop of the season. So that just shows you how how important it is if you're a new team. I mean, a lot of these are new teams, right? To have
Yep.
somebody that knows the rule book inside and out on your timing stand, especially when you're starting out, because it can really make or break your race. So, yeah, you'd have the 93 car get knocked out. You'd have the 98 car got spun by the 15 car on that next restart. So you have Maddie getting spun there. You'd have Dean Baker's car end up having a pretty big accident in the kink late in the race. So, yeah, I want to say almost every full course yellow was caused by somebody in TCR, to be honest with you.
Yeah, a lot of incidents, really like a war of attrition. When you look at the finishing results here in the 4-hour race, of the 16 cars that started, there were only 6 that ended up finishing on the lead lap when it was all said and done. So, a
But
war of
but I it
attrition. I mean,
that's just not surprising to me at all because you can go back and look year after year, and it just always ends up that way, especially in TCR. And if you look, the top 3, you could throw a blanket over them, and then
yeah,
4, 5, and 6 are 23 seconds, 56 seconds, and a minute 3 off the pace. So it always just comes down to seems like a battle for the top 2 or 3 spots in TCR. But yeah, I mean, the strategy was it was a fun race to call. The strategy really wasn't too difficult to call in the first half of the race, right? Because you'd have any yellow that wasn't a short yellow. We ended up having, I think, two short yellows in the race. You were coming in for fuel, so we never even made it to the end of the fuel window. At the 2 hour mark, well, first of all, just my crew was amazing all day, so we'd actually end up spending the least amount of time on pit lane of any TCR car all day, and you can absolutely take that and translate it into that's how you win a race, right? And so they were great. They were great all day, and we would end up being in the lead at the 2 hour mark with Denny in the car, and then he would go to take the green, and a big commotion would happen in turn five with GS, and Mario Farnbacher would get around it or would get around him, and then that would kind of set the race up for the rest of the 2 hours for us. Would really be it was us, the 72 and the 33 car, and it was kind of the three of us for the longest time battling. The 33
Yeah.
car had led early. They led in the second hour of the race as well, and so we were somewhat content to just ride there and bide our time. You don't get any awards for winning the hour or winning the race with 90 minutes to go. So we were sitting there, pushing the Pegram car and really challenging them, because it's just it's I've been in that position before on a family team that's not in that position every race weekend. There's a ton of pressure that comes on you when all of a sudden you're leading the race, and so let's see how they do with the pressure. Unfortunately, obviously, we all know the answer. It didn't go well for them with the pressure, and their pit stop would fall apart at the end. But yeah, when we go back to
Well, they
green
also
with
they also picked up a puncture too, didn't they? Was it?
well, they picked up a
it
puncture because they didn't
oh,
change the
because he flat
fronts.
spotted the tires.
Yeah, and they didn't change the
Yeah.
fronts, so and you can't keep running those tires for 2 hours at Daytona. But yeah, we'd go back green with like 75 minutes left in the race, and that would really set up the last part of the race, which would run green till the end of that part. So the longest
Yeah.
green flag run was that last hour plus the race. And at that point, everybody in GS and in TCR are in the same window, right? Like there's not enough fuel. So when are you going to stop and what are you going to do? For us, we were watching what the 33 and the 72 are going to do. The 33 blinks first. They come in. We came in the lap after them. Been the only time the whole weekend or the whole race, honestly, that we wouldn't have a perfect stop, and we'd lose a few seconds on the stop, and that would drop us from second to third, and then you had the issue with the 72 car, and then they're not serving their penalty, and
Yeah.
so they're holding up Bryson. So Bryson would end up being nearly 4 seconds ahead of us through that pit stop exchange. And then, within 15 minutes or so, Denny was back on his bumper. And at that point, I'm just there to watch the end of the race. And well,
You've done your job, right? So it's
yeah, I mean, we done our job. I was a little disappointed because I hated that we lost that spot for Denny in the pit stop exchange, but I didn't have to feed him the numbers of what Bryson was doing for very long because he was right back on him, and
yeah.
at that point it was just waiting for the opportunity to come available for him, and then I'm just going, where did the Hart car come from? That's what I kept thinking. I'm going, where have
Yeah,
these
they
guys
stuck
been
up.
all day? Like I'm looking at timing and scoring, and I'm like, these guys after the last pit stop exchange, I was like, well, these guys are like only 4 or 5 seconds behind us, and then they're catching us the last 30 minutes, and so really, I'm not feeding Denny any information about what's going on in front of him. Right? Bryson's half a car length in front of him. He knows what he's doing, but I am going. I was like, hey, the Hart car behind you is for position, and he's coming. So it would set up, quite a dramatic finish. Obviously, I, I'm beyond blessed to have the best driver in the field drive my car, and Denny did what he does, and made a great move with 2 laps to go, and or a lap and a half to go, and then Bryson and the '89 car would fight there all the way to the bus stop, and that would give us a little bit of gap that we needed, and we had the Turner car in between us on the last lap, and yeah, we'd go on to win it, but it was quite exciting. I gotta say, we've had 4 wins in less than 2 years. None of them have been boring. We don't ever win like the. I'd like to win one of the ones where it's just like, oh, they're leading by 20 seconds and they're out to one. We've never had one of those. They're always exciting, and they're always close. And the margin of victory, even at the end, is not very far. And if you have a couple more laps, I'm sure we're right back in a dogfight with the '89 again. So uh, yeah, just an amazing day for us. And I said we wanted to be the first ever to go back to back, and we did it. So it's pretty awesome feeling, even 3-4 weeks later.
Yeah, it's been a good few years for you guys at Daytona. I believe before that was that the before
That was
I
that
guess
was the second with
24.
that was
You
the
ran out of
second with
fuel.
Nick. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, second, firsts. We're on the longest podium endurance streak in Pilot Challenge history, regardless of class at this point. So 5 in a row, 2 seconds, and 3 firsts. So yeah, I think if you didn't believe we could do it in enduros, by this point I don't know what to tell you, because you got to beat us at some point.
Hey, I mean, I can see why you're trying to campaign for more endurance races. It's pretty clear, and
Right? Yeah, yeah,
maybe
yeah,
maybe the rest of the
yeah.
field doesn't want anymore
Throw
any
all these
more
two
endurance
hours,
races.
2 hour races but I mean, the races are great. Like, I mean, you just you were there spectating in the media center, and around the track. I mean, the racing is just it's just it's just great. I mean, 35 GS cars was
Yep.
was awesome. I mean, 50 cars was awesome, and we can talk about the GS battle. And I mean, what an amazing job by Aston Martin, quite frankly, because nobody was
Yep.
thinking about Aston Martin after weekend one. And, the BOP actually got changed between Roar and Race, which we didn't think would happen. But if you were paying attention to the timing charts after the Roar, it's I think it was 7 out of the top 8 times of the weekend were Mustangs. So the Mustangs got hit
Yep.
with BOP, and so did the Porsche. And then all of a sudden, halfway through the race, here comes the Aston Martin, and boy, like, were they a force to be reckoned with, even in the front half of the race. When I was rewatching it, you know, Hannah Grisham in the Harder Racing car was right up there fighting for the podium in the top half of the race.
Yeah, you know what? Like throughout this race, we saw a lot of different manufacturers have their moment. Like we saw Aston Martin, of course, really emerge at the end. Mercedes as well emerged at the end. There weren't too many Mercedes in the field, as has kind of been, the recent trend the past couple of years. But we see Mercedes emerge at the end. You had BMW, Ford, Porsche. The McLaren was, or one of the McLarens was running up there as well. It was good to see, all the manufacturer diversity that we ended up seeing throughout this race. When, like you said, leading up to it, and what we've seen here the past couple of years is just how like one manufacturer can really latch on and be like the clear dominant car. It's been, Mustang. I think we've seen it with BMW, or BMW has been really strong here in the past. Porsche's been strong as well. So
The
it was really
McLaren
fun to.
last year, yeah.
Yeah, true. Yep. It was really good to see, so many different manufacturers that were in it. The really close racing that we saw. We saw the battle for the win between those two Aston Martins, between the Rebel Rock Racing and the Circle H Racing. Aston Martin, Circle H Racing.
Which we didn't know anything going into the race, but turns
Yep.
out that is run by Archangel and run by Mike Johnson. So no surprise that they were they were up there near the finish. Your boy Mike Johnson almost pulled the complete miracle for your boys at FAF and brought them back from 5 laps down or whatever the next day in the Rolex. But the drive that Andrew Davis put in the middle part of that race for Rebel Rock,
Yeah.
not their full-time driver. I mean, he's the one who drives it through the field. I mean, he handed it to Robin Lindell in first place, and Robin just had to not mess it up. So yeah, it
Pretty
was
good
it
guy
was
to
a
hand it off to in the race lead.
I was what this is gonna. I'm gonna sound like I have absolutely nothing else to do with my time. I was watching a 2005 Speed World Challenge GT race on YouTube the other day, and Robin Lindell was starting in second place in a Porsche, and I was like, man, this guy's 21 years he's been doing this at least. So, and he was fast then, obviously, and he's still fast now. So. Yeah, it's kind of a shame, Rebel Rock's first win since Sebring of 24, I want to say, and this is the last time we're going to see him for the season. They're off to run
Yeah.
the GT3 in SRO with Frank and Robin. So it'd be hey, that's a nice one to come in and one race and come beat up on everybody and then bounce out of here. So yeah, not a if that's the last time we see these guys in Pilot Challenge for a long time, then that's a heck of a way to go out.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. I was going to say maybe we could see them in VP Sports Car Challenge, a little bit of history there with them in that series. But yeah, that's it's not happening this
Yeah,
year at least. So,
but yeah, so I thought obviously the Astons looked to be the class of the field at the end of the race, but you saw
it was a
Turner.
great battle for the podium, that last podium spot.
McIvern drove it through the field in his first two stints, right? Because he had to start from the back, and he drives it. I think he gave
Yep.
it to Luca in like second place or something like that. And
Yeah, they were near the front the whole day, I think.
yeah, and you saw Windward come back and bounce with a
Dan
third place
Arrow
finish.
at the end.
Do you want to know something embarrassing? I'll tell you is I just realized like yesterday that their last name is Ward, and then it's Win Ward.
I hadn't realized that. Yeah.
You haven't? Okay. See,
No, I didn't either. I
I
always
don't
wondered, like, why is it Windward?
I don't feel so dumb now. Yeah, so the father and son are Ward
Well, I
and
mean, you
Win
don't pronounce
Ward.
their last name Word, so
Yeah.
yeah,
So anyway, okay, just okay. I don't feel as dumb now, but yeah, and some teams you wouldn't call staples of the Michelin Pilot Challenge lately up here in the top 10 as well. VPX, that's a new team.
yep,
Heart of Racing, that's a new team in here. Yeah, Random Vandals would be in 13th. Murillo somehow look, they were pitted next to us, and that car was like something I forget what it was their issue was, but they kept having to do hard resets on the car, and somehow they finished on the lead lap after all of that and finished 14th. So that's pretty impressive by them. You got new teams like BSI and that on the lead lap as well. So yeah, I mean it's I thought it was a really entertaining race when I went to go back and watch it, and it's easier to watch the ones who win, obviously, but
yeah,
and it was nice to see TCR get the TV time it deserved in the last hour. I mean, yeah, that's it's
absolutely.
been pretty rare the last few races. I'm not gonna lie. So it was nice that we were featured there at the end.
I remember seeing you in the garage when we chatted after the race, and I remember saying, like, I was watching the broadcast for the final, like 20-25 minutes of that race, and I just kept you guys had you could cover the battle for the lead with a blanket, and just how that was shaping up and how everything was turning out. And I just remember, like, I'm just waiting for the broadcast to just flip to a non-existent like GS battle. And to be fair, the GS battle was close. It was not anywhere near as close as TCR, but they were a couple of seconds apart. Like it wasn't like a 10-second lead or anything. And it would fluctuate a little bit, but yeah,
Yeah,
a
and I
really
think
good job.
Circle H had the lead, right? And Rebel Rock
Yeah,
passed them
yeah.
back. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep. There was a pass for the lead, and then it kind of like not stagnated, but it just kind of petered out a little bit. And no, it was I was pleased that they kept with the good battle that we had on track. And still, there was a great battle as well going on in GS for that final podium spot. I think it was like a 6-car battle when it was all said and done. Again, nose to tail. There, the final hour of this race in particular was it was very memorable for me, and just like the sheer volume of good racing and good, clean racing that we saw unfold. It was a really good finish. And if you haven't seen the end of the race yet, I mean, I don't know why you would be listening or watching podcast about
Spoiler
this
alert.
IMSA support series, but you should definitely go and check it out, because it was, yeah, if that's how we want to kick off the first race weekend of the season, then I think we're going to be in for a treat with the Pilot Challenge this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really interested to see what the car count is when we go to Sebring. I mean,
Yeah.
I have heard of a couple teams that definitely won't be here for the full season, but still, I think it's going to be pretty strong. GS, I mean, I can't see it losing 30% of its field or 40% of its field or something like that. So it's going to be strong. I was saying something on last episode about how difficult it was to get a podium with a 3-driver lineup, and 4 out of the 6 podium cars were 3-driver lineups, actually. So, what do I know? The second and third in TCR and first and second in GS were 3-driver lineups.
It's a good thing that you won the race this weekend, or that weekend, because otherwise we'd really be questioning, like, what does Aaron truly know? So
yeah, well, I know enough to be dangerous sometimes. So know enough to do well at Daytona. Yeah. So,
fair enough.
yeah. I mean, surely you're gonna. I mean, just pleasure me here. Tell me the point standings. Can we just run through the point standings real fast? No? Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, sure. Do
We
you
know
have
who
the point standings up? I mean, I can tell you what the order of the point standings are without looking at them.
Well, I can tell you how many
But,
points it is. So 350, 320,
well,
300. Yeah.
there you go. You nailed it.
But
Don't even need the point standings up.
I will say, like, we talk about the big swing in points. Like, I mean, well, first of all, okay, so that 10-point rule, they applied to GS as well, right? So no one's going to get 0 points. But I mean, you have some pretty big names down here starting the season.
Yeah.
Okay, Chris Miller, Mikey Taylor, JDC, 30 points. Jan Halen, 60 points. Bill Alberlin, Samantha Tan, 110 points. I mean, these are big holes to start your
Stephen
season out
McAleer and
with.
Jeff Westfall.
Yeah. So, these and yeah, so just it is this championship, I feel like, is going to be, especially in GS, is just going to be MX5 level with some of these point swings
Yeah.
they're going to have this year. And you can even you can go to TCR as well and look at
Cooper's bad weekend. Yeah, like,
dude, the 77 car looked like the car to beat, right? I mean, they're starting 200 points down to start the season. You
yep.
have, the 99 car down there. You have the MMG car down there. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to start yourself in a hole like that. We saw MMG bounce back from it last year, obviously, and we've seen people do it in the past. But yeah, the point swings are going to be really interesting, and I think obviously consistency is going to win you the championship. But I think in GS you could see averaging 6th, 7th place win you the championship if these car counts stay where they are, and the balance of the field stays like this.
Yeah, we're absolutely going to be, when the end of the season rolls around, we're going to be looking back at some of these early season races like this Daytona round, where the field is probably the biggest that we're going to see all season. And you're going to look at somebody who had a poor result and go, if they had just had if they didn't have this go wrong at Daytona, then they could be right there or leading the championship right now. So, these these early season rounds, even though there is, the entire season left to go, we still have 9 rounds left
Yep.
of the season. it seems like every single year, with just how close the racing is throughout the year, that the one terrible result can really come back and bite you in the butt. So, for all these teams that did have a terrible result, they're obviously trying to flip that narrative. You said that we saw MMG, have it last year, but MMG, they ended up having, unfortunately for them, the second bad result in the final race of the season. So,
well,
you really
they'd
need.
have three. They'd have Laguna too. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
But
So
really limiting those catastrophic weekends to be at least able to salvage some decent points is important. So we'll see how that affects these championship battles as the year goes on. Because, like you said, if we see car counts that stay this high, then that obviously means we have a bigger point swing, and it can cause some chaos in the standings. So.
yeah, last year's race winner at Daytona, Ibiza Farms, finished 18th. They only have 130 points. They won
Yep.
multiple races last year. Team TGM champions from 2 years ago, only 140 points. So, yeah, gonna be an interesting season. Gonna be a long season. If you can come out of Florida with right there in the top three, then you feel pretty good about what you can do going into the summer. So, the whole script can flip at Sebring, as we've seen plenty of times, and you've
Yep.
seen it last 2 years for us. I mean, we've had great Daytonas and then had dog poop at Sebring. So yeah, we got to learn to string it together into Sebring as well.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, you turn to one of the most challenging tracks on the calendar, hardest on a car maybe.
And
I
somehow
think
that's
that's
on a
safe to
track
say
we had
for.
0 yellow flags at last year. I mean,
Yeah, true. It doesn't.
I still can't get over that we had 0 yellows there last year. So, yeah.
Going for 2 years in a row of that, then.
No,
Well,
yellows all season long. That's what we want.
yellows all season
That's
long
what
in
all,
4-hour races.
that's what the pro-ams want. Pro-am lineups
Yeah,
want. Yeah.
true. Yeah, I guess there's I guess closing thoughts on Daytona.
Closing
Are you?
thoughts on Daytona is, I mean, I guess it's my favorite track now, right? I mean, it has to be. Yeah, no, it's truly amazing to say you're the first to do something in our sport at Daytona. So to be the first to ever deliver Hyundai the victory there. Yes, last year was amazing. The first ever TCR team to go back to back there is awesome, and I just couldn't be more proud of the group of people I get to work with. Dennis and Preston. Just two awesome people and two of my best friends, honestly. Jake, who's been with me for 5 years on my car. Sean, who's been with me the whole time I've been at Herta on my car. Kevin, who it was changing tires with me for the first time this year. I worked with him back at the Rockwells. It was his first ever IMSA win. Corbin, who was helping us. We had two brand new people. It was their first ever IMSA race, and they both got wins on
Wow.
our car, our intern and our tire technician. So, yeah, it can only go downhill from there. Yeah, I'm just really proud of us, and I thought it was just a really kind of embodied Brian Herta's Autosport, how we won that race and how we finished first, third, and fourth. I mean, we just ran error free, and we kept it clean all day, and we had 0 penalties in a race where there's 100 penalties called
Everybody was getting them.
literally.
Yeah.
And we had clean stops, and we had a well prepared cars, and our plans were executed well. I went in there with a very specific plan about the tires, and other people didn't think that would work, and it worked to perfection. So, yeah, just really pleased. They're really satisfying, these total team wins. This one was another one. Obviously, this win doesn't happen without Dennis, though. I mean, he's the one who bailed us out from our slow stop at the end. But to be fair, we did put him into first with 2 hours to go, and he lost it for the second year in a row. So we'll just
Ooh.
we'll call no. They were wrecking in front of him. It wasn't his fault this time. But yeah, no, yeah, just super proud of everybody on the team, and an awesome win. And yeah, I mean, when you got the best driver in the field, it's easy to look good. That's all I'm gonna say.
There you go. Nice, kind word. It was like a compliment sandwich there for Dennis, you know?
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
that's what it
He
is,
says I
right?
don't say enough nice stuff about him on here, so and I almost accidentally threw him completely over my shoulder onto his head, celebrating in victory lane when I picked him up. So yeah, sorry about that. And Stu, I know you were disappointed because you thought there were no finger guns, but they did make it on
I
the end of the show wrap up, and I would bet money that they'll be in the pre-show for the rest of the season if I had to guess.
I did end up seeing the replay of those, so
Yeah.
I'm glad that my initial disappointment was not to
It's
be.
funny that you said that post race when I was talking to you, waiting for the car to go through impound. And I had like 10 people text me that at the same time. They're like, where were the finger guns? Well, when I finally started looking at my messages a couple hours after the race. So, yeah, that was good. But, moving on, we should really get to the main point of this
Wait.
podcast.
I kind of teased it
Oh,
leading
okay.
up to the show. Um, about how did you leave Daytona International Speedway? Like when everything was all said and done. How did you get out of the track?
How did I get out of the track?
Yeah.
I actually
How does
rode
how does
in.
one generally leave Daytona International Speedway?
Well, normally you would have to get on the shuttle and ride it from the infield all the way
Yep.
around. But actually, I had something in Alex Rockwell's in my car, so I actually got in his rental car and he drove me around to my car. But
Oh
that's how I
wow.
got there. Yeah,
You had like a personal driver then.
yeah. Oh, yeah. So he's not the one you want. But yeah, that's well. Why do you ask?
Well, why do I ask? Because I had a much different experience leaving the track
Oh boy.
on Sunday evening, after not after the Pilot Challenge race. It
Yeah, yeah.
was after the WeatherTech race. Um, so I didn't realize that the tram stopped quite early on Sunday after the
Oh
race.
no.
So sure enough, I was in the media center, wrapping things up, and then I leave the media center. I walk to the tram stop, and there's no trams there. There's nothing, like all the stuff was taken down for it. I was like, okay, great. So I left the track on foot, walking out to the back. What is it, lot 6, the parking lot
Whoa.
all the way back there. I made
Okay.
the trek out there
Are you kidding me?
like a
We're
fool.
Is that where everybody from the media center was parked?
Yeah, yeah, I believe so. I guess maybe some people got infield, but yeah,
Okay,
we were.
if you've never been to Daytona, Stu had to walk like 3 miles at least because you would.
Yeah,
Did you go out? Did you go out NASCAR 1 tunnel or NASCAR 4 tunnel?
NASCAR one
NASCAR.
tunnel
So you went from the start finish line basically to NASCAR 1 tunnel, well,
through the international horseshoes,
all the
like
way
walked
around the
all the way
infield
around there.
to
Hmm.
NASCAR 1 tunnel, and then walked around NASCAR 1, NASCAR 2, and all of our cars are parked on the back straight on the outside of the track. Wow,
And then
that
and then
sucks.
as soon as I get back to the parking lot, what do? They open up the gates to cross the back stretch. So if I had
You would have never even known that they were doing that,
no,
though. Like,
I wouldn't have known that. But of course, I get back there, and there's all the there's the haulers and stuff that are going across the back straightaway, right back out through lot 6 to leave. And I'm like,
what
man, oh man, that could have saved me like half an hour walking.
what time was this?
This was like 6, I think.
But the teams have
I
to pack
know
it up.
there was still plenty of people kicking around, so I was pretty surprised that it was that early. But you know what? You live and you learn, right? So if you
Wow.
ever find yourself in Daytona and you're parked in some faraway land, then don't take the trams for granted because
I
they
thought
are
you would have had that plush media center parking. I thought you would have been right
no.
there in the BMW Champions Club, parking
No,
right there. Wow.
unfortunately, they wouldn't let me in with my what did I can't remember what my rental car was. It might have been a Jetta. They wouldn't let me into the
Oh yeah.
BMW lot. So
Wow. Well, that does suck. Well, people asked me what I did to celebrate the victory that night, and I got in my car and drove 3.5 hours back towards home and made it into a hotel at like 11:30 p.m. and laid there and watched the last 20 minutes of the race after I took a shower, and then went to bed for 6 hours and woke up and drove the rest of the way home. So yeah.
and Andrew said there was an announcement over the PA, but we don't get the PA announcements in the media center for all of them. So I definitely did not catch that. And that's the way she goes. You live and you learn, right? You live and you
Yeah,
learn.
yeah. That is by far the worst track to park at, and I am very
Yes.
excited that Sebring has added the bridge over the back straight,
Oh,
and now
yes.
all of us on the teams can walk right across. I know you haven't been there before, but it used to be you'd park back there, and then the track
All
would
the
be
way
open.
around.
The track would be open until the track went hot, but then
Okay.
if you weren't there early in the morning, or say your last session was done at 2, but there's cars on track till 9 p.m., then you'd have to
Yep.
ride this convoluted trans system to try to just go what's only like 500 feet if you could just go that way. So yes, all the teams are excited that there's a bridge now at Sebring.
I bet. I bet.
Yeah. So
Enough about track.
we'll teach you Sebring soon.
Oh yes, yeah, that's true. That'll be for next episode.
Yeah.
We can talk about all the tips for that. There is one piece of news to briefly touch on here that is Michelin Pilot Challenge Series relevant, and I suppose technically it's relevant for the VP Sports Car Challenge as well because they do feature GT4 cars. McLaren has announced that their Artura GT4 is going to be discontinued by 2028. This is it's not a brand new GT4 car, although it feels like it was kind of just yesterday that it debuted. It debuted back in 2022.
Okay.
But yeah, 2028, no more McLaren GT4. So it's going to be unfortunate to see that go by the wayside because it's a really unique car for compared to some of the other, when you're going up against like a Ford Mustang or you can
The
name off pretty much
BMW,
any of the
yeah, yeah.
other ones. Yeah, it's pretty unique. So unfortunate to see the McLaren go.
Well, first of all, this car was a major upgrade from their last GT4 car, which had a tendency to catch on fire all the time. So yeah,
It's a
that
bad
was a big
tendency to have.
that was a big upgrade. I think two of them caught on fire at Sebring in 2022 in the same race. But yeah, it's not that surprising when you see how much they're putting into the trophy car, right? So you see, the trophy series is where they're trying to focus their lower end racing or whatever you want to.
So does that mean that we think they're going to get a new trophy car then in 2028? Because my understanding is that the trophy car can be like you can change around some of the aero components, and I
Yeah,
think it was shifting some weight around to make it GT4 spec. So
and
like
you
if they're discontinuing the GT4,
you
like
yank the restrictor out of it basically because those things rip.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
Like, I wonder if there
I-
must be a new car coming for them then, because I don't see why you would axe it otherwise.
yeah. Well, I read something about it, and I think they're going the way of they're a premium brand, right? And so they're going the way of Lamborghini and Ferrari, where they don't think that their brand should be racing in GT4 against BMW and Mercedes, and that
Gross.
they want,
Gross.
yeah, I know, and the Hyundai's. Uh, they, they want their brand to be featured just like Lamborghini does with their One Make series and Ferrari does with Ferrari Challenge. So that's how they spun it. McLaren, much like Lamborghini, isn't that big of a company, so probably trying to make that many cars is also a problem for them. But honestly, Stu, if the McLaren was as popular as the BMW GT4, they would not be axing
Yeah.
it. Like,
Yeah, that's fair.
it's just not that popular. I mean, there's one There's one in Pilot Challenge. There's two, I think, in SRO GT4 America. So there's only three racing in North America, just like their current GT3 car isn't that popular. So if they had 50 of them running over here like BMW does, then they wouldn't be axing it. They'd be a moneymaker for them.
So does this mean then? I guess Oh no, never mind. We have a McLaren GT3 back on the grid, because I was gonna say, like, does that mean that McLaren is pulling the plug completely on their IMSA participation here? But they have with the RLL car now, and
Well,
because I wanted to go that, oh, are we gonna see the hypercar or the
I was about to
LMP?
say, I mean,
But
all will be well if they bring the hypercar here. So
yeah, nobody will notice the loss of the GT4 if that happens.
yeah, yeah. If the GT4 has to die for the hypercar to come, that's fine. But
It's a worthy sacrifice.
rest in peace to the Alpine hypercar too. By the way, I know you'll
Yeah.
talk about that on your other show. But yeah, it's interesting to see how hypercars evolving. Okay, I only got two things to talk about before we go.
Okay.
Big
We do
news,
have a
and this is
question
what.
too.
Oh, okay, good. And this is what everyone comes here for. What is going on with our favorite championship, the VP
Yep.
Challenge, and our favorite car brand, the M2 Challenge car? And we
Aaron, you've been
saw.
selling a lot of cars yourself, right?
I mean, I should honestly be on the payroll of BMW at this point, and they, I am in sales as my day job, so they can holler at me anytime they want. But they have actually announced, as a Sports Car 365 article posted yesterday, the delay of the M2 Challenge Championship, and it will not be here for the first Enduro, and we are going to have to wait a couple more months before we are graced by the presence of the greatest car ever to join the VP Challenge. What are your thoughts, Stu? So now, if you're going to run a VP Challenge BMW M2, you can sell that seat for a whopping 3 races this year. How are you supposed to make
3.
money? How are you supposed to make money if you're a team doing that? How are you supposed to call that a championship? I did see that they posted that there is a chance that they would add a makeup weekend, but I don't know how you would do that because there is no other 2-hour enduro weekend.
Well, I think well, where else are they? They're not going to want to send them
You
north
can't
of the
tack it
border, are
on
they?
to one of the 45-minute weekends because you got 2 drivers. So
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
so you're gonna see it. So
Well,
I
you could
guess we'll
probably do a
see it.
double header weekend then, right? Like two
Oh,
2-hour
yeah,
races in a weekend.
yeah,
Like that
maybe
would
so.
make sense, right?
Yeah,
Well, I guess, but
but then the
how
LMP3 cars
busy are
aren't
the
going to do
USAC
it.
weekends? Yeah.
But then LMP3
Sorry.
cars aren't going to run an extra 2-hour race. So that would put it at a Circuit of the Americas May
Well,
9th launch would be the anticipated launch for the M2 Challenge car. I
and
just
when was it
haven't
supposed to launch? When's that? Is it Sebring? Like a Sebring
Sebring
round?
March 6th, 3 weeks from now. So
Okay, so they get an extra couple of months.
I just haven't seen this sloppy of a launch by IMSA before because there was no big announcement. It was kind of like Doonan slipped up and talked about it in a podcast, and then just like a couple articles come out about it like a couple of weeks later, and there's no splash to it. I read that the delay is because BMW is selling a lot of these cars from the Nürburgring, and they need to be ready for the NLS weekends. These cars are coming to SRO TC, and maybe they're going to be in there. But again, I shared with you, like I've only seen one team that's even like selling seats for these things, and they weren't advertising
Yeah.
it for they weren't advertising it for IMSA. They were advertising it for other championships. So yeah, I don't know. Just another the layers of complexity of VP Challenge just keep getting added and added.
Let's not forget that the Mustang Challenge wasn't exactly a smooth launch a couple of years ago. I guess
That's
it was
true.
smoother in the lead up to it, but that first weekend was a mess of
Yeah, and
it was
it didn't start till June because they didn't have the
yeah.
cars ready. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. The world logistics of the world are tricky, and who knows what underlying factors are playing into this. But at the end of the day, you know what? We have to play our part in this too. We just haven't sold enough of these cars, and we got to do a
B-
better job of that.
BMW, contact me here below on Instagram, and we'll sell you some cars. Yes. All right. Well, I know we don't talk
We're gonna
about
sell BMW cars now. I like how we're spinning this.
whatever. We'll sell whatever. Yeah, sponsorship opportunities available. Okay, I know we don't talk about non-IMSA stuff, but did you watch Bathurst at all by chance? This is my last thing.
I watched some of the two key moments I would say that happened in that race.
Okay, so I live watched the big wreck, right? And
Yes, the big one.
okay, so there's a lot of thoughts about the flagging and the radio and not throwing the safety car. And first of all, not throwing the safety car is insane at that,
Yes.
right? I mean, it's just the wrong call. And you can not blame the driver at all when the corner worker's waving the flags 50 feet before a blind crest, and that's
On
where the
a
wreck is.
downhill, yeah.
Yeah. But no one's talking about the root cause of this, which is, if you were paying attention, why are they even having a wave by when they don't initiate the wave by till they're on the back straight of Mount Panorama on the lap it's going green? Like, these poor guys are already the back markers, and now they're on cold tires from a safety car, and it's like, drive for your life because the leaders are going to be here only 20 seconds behind you. Like, that is the biggest issue to me, is if you just did the wave by the lap before, these guys are long gone, and the wave by actually means something, and you can catch up and get your
Yeah.
lap back. They were doing it the whole race, and I was noticing it earlier in the race. I was like, what's the point of this wave by? Because these guys are getting lapped 2 or 3. It's just causing traffic like instantly. And the poor
Yeah.
guy in the GT4 McLaren, I mean, God bless that guy. I mean, he was just always getting hammered on these 3 starts. But yeah, like all the race control stuff aside, whoever decided that was the rule, that's crazy. Like, what's the point of having the wave by? Like, either do it the right way or don't do it at all. Those are my thoughts. And I'll be in race control for Australia. Also, it shouldn't take over a minute for the track services car to get to the driver, and he shouldn't be walking across the track, and he shouldn't be the code 60 under the safety car with the Audi wreck, and like the guys are sweeping the track, and then just randomly cars are ripping by them at 60 kilometers per hour because they don't let them all catch up to the pack of the safety car. If you're a bronze driver and you watch that race, I don't know why you would ever go there. Like, it's just not safe. Like, it doesn't seem in this day and age to be very safe. Anyway, that was my soapbox about Bathurst. It's still cool though. If you want me to engineer it, holler. I'll still do it.
Well, you gotta prepare for kangaroos though, and
yeah, it was a kangaroo.
You need like one of the
we didn't even
big
talk
bumper
about
bars.
that.
Yeah,
that
is very fortunate. That accident also wasn't worse than it was.
That's another time it took track services way too long to get there. So, yeah, never take for granted the amazing job that these especially IMSA and IndyCar do with their safety teams. I mean, they're there so fast in both series. It's really impressive.
Yeah, incredible work that they do. We did have a question that came in earlier from Adrian, who says, hello guys, I'm attending my first IMSA event at Laguna Seca this year. Any tips and advice as a first timer? Laguna Seca also going to be a throwback weekend, right?
I
don't know.
I am into that idea. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Can we get a Hyundai in the Brian Herta shell livery from his IndyCar or his kart win there in 1998, I believe. That would be cool.
Listen, you're the inside man. You got to push for that, okay?
I don't have any pull on these, but I just thought about it. And if somebody doesn't pull out a champion livery, I'm gonna be furious. Somebody pull out the champion racing livery. It's the greatest livery ever, and I better see it. But anyway, Laguna. Have you been to Laguna? You haven't been to Laguna, right?
I have not.
Yeah. Well, besides the fact that you have to like summit a mountain, I would say it's a very spectator friendly track because once 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 you're in the infield of it, you can go to any turn once you're inside the track. So obviously going up to the corkscrew is amazing, but it is legit like 700 feet of elevation change or something like that from the bottom of the track, and to get there the spectator way is like
It's a slight
this.
exaggeration, but you know,
No, I'm not kidding. I'm pretty sure it's that it has like crazy
no,
elevation.
I think it's like
Okay,
150 feet.
you come do that track walk with me this year, and we'll see if you're sucking wind when you get to the top of that hill like I am. Um, but yeah, it's a great track. If this is your first IMSA weekend, spend as much time as you can in the paddock. There's a lot to see there. I think Super Trofeo is always there with us. Of course, WeatherTech's there, Pilots there, and I forget what the other sports series that'll be there this year is, but yeah, enjoy the paddock and IMSA. I mean, that's probably the best part of any IMSA race is the fan walks and the paddock and the
Yeah.
access you can get. The autograph sessions for the WeatherTech guys, although for some reason they're during the pilot race half the time, which annoys me. But
Well, like all the
it,
time.
yeah, but and then I mean, I don't know if you're new to that region or not, but the most gorgeous place that IMSA goes by far, Monterey, 15 minutes away, is beautiful, and yeah, it's the only place you ever just see like seals in the wild. Yeah, not the singer, but the animal. So yeah, it's a great track. I'm pretty sure you can walk on the outside of most of the track as well. I've never gotten to go out there, but I think you can see it from a lot of different angles. And that's another thing too. If you've never been to an IMSA race, this isn't a NASCAR race. This isn't an F1 race where your ticket tells you to sit here and that's where you're going to stay. I mean, you can walk around and go see every turn at the track from every angle they'll let you into, and there's really no closed off areas, right, Stu? Unless you're going
Yeah.
into somebody's hospitality area. I mean, you can get almost anywhere you want. There's racing on track from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., so there's plenty of time to get around and see stuff and take a million pictures and all those kind of things.
And you're gonna get to see the incredible Mustang Challenge. That's also going to
Oh,
be making the trip out to Laguna. So
okay.
yeah,
Oh,
that's
I can't wait for the Sebring preview, and we can
uh,
take our dogpiling from VP and move it to
yeah.
Mustang
I was just
Challenge
thinking
and
the
their
same
car count.
thing.
Yeah,
Maybe
we can give
maybe we'll
VP a
see some more
break.
cars, but
Yeah. Did you see the USAC Mustang Championship that had like 8 cars when we looked it up last season? Now you can bring like your like street car with a roll cage basically to that championship. There's like 5 different tiers of Mustangs that you can run in that race now.
interesting.
Yeah.
They're
So anyway,
expanding. That's always a good sign. That's a sign of a
yeah.
healthy championship right there.
Yes, but Laguna is a great first track to go to. Yeah, definitely a fan friendly track and a lot of stuff to see. So yeah, you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, I always tell people when it's their first time, whether it's their first IMSA race or if it's their first time at a track, then like take your time, get to make sure that on one if you're there for the entire weekend, like if you're fortunate enough to be there on like Friday as well for practice and stuff, really take Friday to take in all the areas around the track and try and figure out where you want to go and check out during the race, because it is, while it's a 2 hour and 40-minute race, it seems like, that's a pretty long time. It goes by in a flash, and it can take you a little bit of time to get around sometimes. So,
Yep.
try and use that practice day if you're there for it, to get a lay of the land, see if there's, plan out where you want to be for the race. And then, like Aaron said, you're gonna have the autograph sessions, you're gonna have the grid walk to check out. There's tons of stuff to check out on any IMSA weekend that you know and all you're gonna end up going there and you're gonna get hooked and you're gonna want to go back. Like that's just how it's gonna be. So be ready for that. And yeah, just enjoy yourself. It's probably gonna be a fair bit of walking, so wear comfy shoes.
You see the chat's backing me up that it is very steep.
It's really steep. I've walked. Okay, comparing that to the hill at Road Atlanta. Give it to me on a scale there.
uh, they're very similar, honestly.
Very similar. Okay.
The hill at Road Atlanta is at least like paved. Like this is like dirt when you walk it up
You're talking. Okay.
At Laguna. Yes, but they're both equally like summiting Everest levels of steepness.
Why
yes.
are IMSA tracks like this? You know,
they make the teams park on that huge hill, and I swear, like, yes, Preston got his car stuck because it started sliding down on the dirt, and he was near the front row and it was pinned against the fence. I mean, yeah, it's quite a hill. So yes, it is. We'll get you out there one year and you'll see it does rival that turn 3 to turn 5 Road Atlanta hole that you have to go down in and back out of. Yeah.
All right, it's no joke. I'll concede then. But yeah, I think
we said it was going to be a short episode, and we still went 90 minutes. Yep.
Yeah, we may have gone longer than most other shows. So
yeah. So we'll be back, but we'll be back before Sebring, obviously, with the Sebring preview. Probably in just a couple of weeks here, really, because we should see the entry list out. We'll see the entry list out on the 11th, so we'll try to squeeze something in the back half of that week, or maybe very early the next week. But excited to see what's going to happen here with some North American racing fired up with some. It'd be cool to see. Our friends at MX5 on the street course, like we said. It'll be cool to see IndyCar is going to be at their new race in Texas in a couple of weeks. They were testing at Phoenix today and tomorrow. So, it's all back, Daytona 500 happened. I mean,
it did.
It was very boring for very long of it. And I always go, oh, yeah, this is why this is the only NASCAR race I watch all year. But as they're fuel saving 50%. But we're excited for it and happy with Daytona and ready to get after it. I said this last year. It's tough after you win. You're like, I mean, you like to have the time. You have the time to enjoy it, but you're like, I'm ready to go do that again. And so
you have like a month and a half off. Yeah.
Yeah. Sitting around for 7 weeks isn't ideal, but it gives us time to pack in 2 shows. Maybe we'll bring a guest for next episode. You never know. Maybe we'll really spice it up.
Yeah, true. I feel like we say this a lot.
I know a certain Belgian that keeps asking me to come on here. So maybe we can get him on here.
Well, maybe it's time to tap him on the shoulder and get him on here. We'll just have to wait and see. I mean, he is also he does fly the Canadian flag, like the Belgium and Canadian flag.
That's true. So. He's got 2 passports now. Yeah.
So I can't say no to that, right?
Yeah.
We'll see if that works out for the next show. But in the meantime, it's been a pleasure as always. As Aaron said, we'll be back in a few weeks for a Sebring preview. But in the meantime, hope everybody enjoys their racing that we're going to see over the next few weeks, and we'll talk to you in the next one.
See ya.